Hi. Last class, we discussed an overview of what statistics is. We talked about how in statistics, sometimes we can do descriptive work or we can do inferential work, descriptive statistics or inferential statistics. In this chapter, we're going to begin the study of descriptive statistics. Chapter 2, Organizing Data, and this video is about section 2.1, Variables in Data. So a variable is a quantity that changes or varies over the individuals in a population. So it's a characteristic of the individuals within the population. So I want to discuss different kinds of variables and distinctions between them. But before I get started, I just want to explain that I will only bring up distinctions in variables if it makes a difference. Does it make a difference in how you would analyze the data? Does it make a difference in what kinds of charts or graphs you would use? What kinds of summarizations, numerical summaries like means, medians, modes? If it does make a difference in how we actually process the data to make decisions or summarize information, then it's important to us in this class. If it doesn't, I will not waste our time. So this is all about what we do. And we're going to start then with two different kinds of variables. One of them is called qualitative, and another one is quantitative. Okay, so the first thing to notice is that the word quantitative has an N in it and always reminds me of number. And so quantitative data is data that has numbers associated with it. Qualitative data, also referred to as sometimes categorical, qualitative variables or categorical variables, they have attributes and characteristics. They're attributes and characteristics, but they're not numerical. They can't be ordered. So I'm just going to give us a little example, a couple of examples of each kind. So qualitative data maybe could be like blood type, what city you live in, the color of your hair. Notice all of these variables here have the property that if we looked at two hair colors, we can't say one is bigger than the other. So my hair is brown, maybe your hair is blonde, but brown is not bigger or smaller than blonde. And we can't do numerical things to those colors like add them up and divide by 2 to get an average hair color. So that's kind of the sort of questions that we need to ask in order to determine if something's qualitative. Let me give you a few examples of quantitative. So quantitative variables, let's see, temperature, height, how much you pay in rent. So all of these variables, all of these measurements that we would be taking that are listed here I can look at how much rent I pay, I can look at how much rent you pay, and we could say one is greater than the other. We could add them up and divide by 2 and report our average rent. So in fact, that those same questions that help us determine that color of hair was not quantitative, but instead qualitative, also helps us determine that rent, the value of the monthly rent value, is a quantitative variable. All right. So there's one more kind of distinction about variables. Again, this is important enough to help to determine what kind of procedures we can use as we move forward in the class. And so I bring it up. We are going to look at quantitative data. And we're going to break the quantitative, the numerical data, up into 2 different kinds of data. One of them will be discrete, and another one, continuous. All right, so discrete and continuous. Now, discrete data either has a finite number of possible values, or you can count it. So for example, discrete data might be the number of students in this class. And I can count you, right? So it's very clear. It's 1, 2, 3, is it? Accounting. So we can also think about things that aren't just like counting. We can talk about a pizza, my favorite topics. And I would make a pizza and cut it up into 8 pieces. So each piece is 1/8. And as I serve 1/8, I can serve 2/8. So it's not just integers that are required for a variable to be, a quantitative variable to be discrete. I just need to be able to count them. So 8ths, it's a number of 8ths of a pizza. All right, so let's come on over here and find a couple of variables that are continuous, and then make sure we get it about how to describe them or how to determine. So continuous variables have infinite but not countable number of possibilities. So for example, we can take a height of the students in our class. And the height of students in the class can be like 65 inches, that's 5'5", could be 56 inches. Really, it could be anything in that interval between 55 and 56. Like, there's no way for me to sit here and make a list of those numbers. In math, we call that not countable, uncountable, right? So the heights of students in the class, we can also think of time, right? So time, that would also be continuous, because when we started class, maybe it's 8 o'clock in the morning, and when we finish class, it'll be 9:15. And every single value between the 8 o'clock and the 9:15 gets taken on. It's a possible value for this for the time variable. And so we can't list all the possible times. And so it becomes not discrete, but continuous. All right, so those are the major concepts that I wanted to connect with in section 2.1. There's a little quiz on Blackboard for you to look at, a before class quiz, so get that done and bring any questions to class. Feel free to send me an email and I'll help out. Take care.